That knot in your chest at the end of a long day? There's a warm cup for that, and it's growing 3 feet from your kitchen window. Feeling anxious lately? The usual move is to reach for a bottle. But there are 9 gentle herbs, lemon balm, chamomile, holy basil, that people have steeped for calm for hundreds of years, and every one of them will grow happily in a pot on your patio. You don't need a yard. You don't need a green thumb. You just need a little sun and a windowsill. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which 9 to grow and how to turn them into your own soothing tea at home. If you have ever felt like your mind won't slow down when you finally sit down at night, you are in good company. And the nice thing about growing your own calming herbs is that the ritual itself does half the work. Snipping a few leaves, boiling the kettle, watching the steam rise off the mug. That slow little routine is part of the comfort, in the old-fashioned sense of the word. It gives your hands something gentle to do, and your mind something quiet to focus on. There is a money side to this too. A box of fancy calming tea can run you $5 or $6 for a handful of bags, while a single small plant costs about the same and keeps giving you fresh cups for months, sometimes years. So let me walk you through the whole garden, one plant at a time, starting with the one I would hand to a complete beginner without a second thought. Let's begin with lemon balm, because it is almost impossible to kill, and it smells like a lemon drop that decided to be leafy. Lemon balm is a member of the mint family, and it has been traditionally used to calm the nerves and ease a restless mind for centuries, all the way back through old European and Iranian herbal traditions. To grow it in a pot, give it a container about 10 to 12 inches wide with drainage holes in the bottom, fill it with ordinary potting mix, and set it somewhere it gets 4 to 6 hours of sun. Keep the soil lightly moist, not soggy, and it forgives you if you forget to water for a day. Think of it like a friendly houseguest who never complains. To harvest, just pinch off the top few inches of a stem, and the plant bushes out fuller for it. For your tea, tear a small handful of fresh leaves, drop them in a mug, pour hot water over the top, cover it with a saucer so the aroma stays trapped inside, and let it steep about 5 minutes. It tastes bright and lightly citrusy, and it makes a lovely cup to relax with after dinner when the house finally goes still. Once you have lemon balm going, the natural companion to plant right beside it is chamomile. Chamomile is the little daisy of the calming garden, and its soft apple scent is the reason it has been sipped before bed for generations. It is traditionally used to help you unwind and settle a busy evening. German chamomile is the annual most gardeners grow for tea, and it does beautifully in a wide, shallow pot since its roots stay near the surface. Give it a container at least 8 inches deep, full sun if you can manage 6 hours, and let the top of the soil dry between watering so the roots never sit wet. The magic here is in the flowers, not the leaves. Once the little white and yellow blooms open fully, pinch the flower heads off in the morning after the dew is dried, but before the midday heat. You will keep harvesting all season long, and here is the wonderful part. The more you pick, the more it flowers, almost like it is thanking you. To make the tea, use about a tablespoon of flowers or a teaspoon of dried ones, steep covered for 5 minutes, and strain. It is the gentlest cup on this whole list, which is exactly why it earned its bedtime reputation in the first place, and a little honey stirred in makes it taste like a warm dessert. If chamomile is the evening herb, this next one is the all-day steadier of the group. Holy basil, also called tulsi, has been grown and steeped in India for thousands of years, and it is traditionally valued as an herb that helps the body feel more balanced and grounded when life gets stressful. It carries a warm clove and peppery aroma that is completely unlike the ordinary sweet basil you toss on pizza. Grow it much the same way though. A pot about 10 inches wide, rich potting soil, and as much sun as you can give it, ideally 6 or more hours, because it genuinely loves the heat and turns lush in it. Keep it watered and pinch the growing tips off often so it does not rush to flower and go woody on you. To harvest, snip whole sprigs from the top with scissors. For tea, use a small handful of fresh leaves or a teaspoon of dried, and steep covered for about 5 to 7 minutes. The flavor is a little spicy, a little sweet, with an almost minty finish, and it makes a comforting cup any time of day when you feel wound up and cannot quite put your finger on why. Now, before we go any further, a quick honest word because it genuinely matters. None of this is medical advice, and a warm cup of herbs is not a substitute for a doctor. If you are pregnant, nursing, or taking any medication, please check with your doctor or pharmacist before adding a new herbal tea to your daily routine, because natural does not automatically mean harmless for everyone. Some of these gentle herbs can interact with medicines, and a few are best avoided during pregnancy. A 2-minute conversation with a professional keeps your calming ritual a happy one instead of an accidental problem. With that said, let's get back out to the garden because the next plant is one people either quietly adore or find surprising the first time they taste it in a teacup. Culinary lavender brings that unmistakable floral perfume, and it has long been associated with a soothing aroma that helps people relax and let the day drift off. Reach for a culinary variety like English lavender rather than the ornamental kinds, since it is bred for a gentler, sweeter flavor in the cup. Lavender is the one plant here that truly hates wet feet, so give it a terracotta pot with excellent drainage, a gritty potting mix with a little sand or grit worked in, full blazing sun, and water only when the soil is genuinely dry all the way down. Treat it a little mean, and it rewards you. Harvest the flower spikes just as the buds begin to show color but before they fully open. When the fragrant oils are strongest, then hang small bundles upside down in a dry spot to cure. In tea, lavender packs a strong punch, so use just a pinch of dried buds, and it is often blended with chamomile or lemon balm so the cup does not turn soapy on you. Steep covered for about 5 minutes. That single floral note is enough to make a whole mug feel like one long, slow, deep breath. Speaking of easy plants, the next herb is so eager to grow that your only real job is holding it back. Mint, and spearmint in particular, is the friendliest plant a nervous new gardener can own, and a warm cup of it has long been enjoyed to ease a tight stomach and help you feel settled after a heavy meal. Here is the one rule that truly matters with mint. Always grow it in its own pot, never loose in a garden bed, because it spreads like a rumor and will happily strangle everything around it. A 12-inch pot all to itself, a spot with partial to full sun and steady moisture is all it asks for. Harvest by pinching stems from the top, which keeps the plant bushy and low, and honestly the more you cut, the happier and denser it grows. To brew, bruise a small handful of fresh leaves gently between your fingers to wake up the oils, pour hot water over them, and steep about 5 minutes uncovered. The scent alone lifts your shoulders a little, and it pairs beautifully with any of the calmer herbs on this list when you want a slightly livelier, brighter cup. If you are enjoying this little tour, go ahead and subscribe so the next patio garden guide finds its way to you. Now we move to a plant with a much bigger reputation for helping people wind down at the end of the night. Passion flower is a climbing vine with some of the most extraordinary blooms you will ever grow, almost otherworldly to look at, and the variety called Passiflora incarnata has traditionally been steeped to help quiet a racing mind and ease the way into sleep. In a pot it needs a large container, at least 14 inches across, plus a small trellis or a few stakes to climb, full sun, and regular water right through the growing season. It is a little more of a project than the others, no question, but the flowers alone earn their keep. You harvest the leaves and the above-ground stems, usually while it is flowering, then dry them for tea. Use about a teaspoon of the dried herb per cup, steep covered for around 10 minutes since it is a leafier, sturdier brew, and strain it well. The taste is mild and a touch grassy, so many people blend it with a little lemon balm or a pinch of mint to round it out. It has earned its spot in nearly every classic bedtime blend on the shelf, and growing your own means you always have a fresh supply. If passion flower is the dramatic one in the group, this next herb is pure sunshine standing up in a stalk. Lemongrass gives you that clean, lemony brightness you taste in Thai cooking, and a warm cup of it has traditionally been sipped to help people relax and settle the stomach. It grows into a lush fountain of grassy blades that looks wonderful on a patio, and it is happiest in a big pot around 14 inches, with rich soil, full sun, and consistently moist ground beneath it. It loves warmth the way a cat loves a sunbeam, so if you get frost where you live, bring the pot indoors near a bright window before winter, and it will sail through to spring, ready to head back outside once the cold breaks. To harvest, wait until the stalks thicken up over a few months, then cut a whole stalk right at the base, or simply snip the leafy blades for tea anytime you like. Any extra blades dry beautifully in a paper bag, so nothing has to go to waste. For a cup, chop a fresh stalk or grab a small handful of blades, bruise them to release the oils, and steep in hot water for about 5 to 10 minutes. It comes out crisp, uplifting, and faintly sweet, and it makes a gentle everyday cup that feels like a small reset button for a frazzled afternoon. Now for the herb that surprises absolutely everyone, because you can genuinely grow the world's most expensive spice right on your own balcony. Saffron comes from the 3 crimson threads tucked inside a small autumn crocus flower, and this golden spice has been treasured for cooking and for comforting warm drinks for thousands of years across the Mediterranean and the Middle East. Growing it is almost absurdly simple once you know the trick. Plant the little corms in late summer in a wide container with plenty of drainage, about 4 inches deep and a few inches apart. Set them in a sunny spot, and then mostly leave them alone. In fall, each flower opens and reveals those 3 red stigmas. You pluck the threads by hand in the morning, lay them out to dry for a day until brittle, and store them in a tiny jar away from light. It takes a good many flowers to gather a real pinch, so treat it as the small luxury it is. To use it, steep just a few threads in a cup of hot water or warm milk for about 10 minutes until the liquid glows golden. That warm honeyed cup feels genuinely special, and growing your own quietly turns an expensive spice into a small, proud ritual you look forward to every autumn. Our final plant is the tough, woody survivor that also happens to smell like a long walk through the hills. Rosemary is the evergreen anchor of this whole group, and its bright piney aroma has long been linked with feeling refreshed and clear-headed. It grows into a handsome little shrub in a pot, and it wants almost exactly what lavender wants. A container with sharp drainage, a gritty mix, full sun and water only when the top inch of soil has dried out. Overwatering is truly the only reliable way to lose a rosemary plant, so err on the dry side and it will live for years. Harvest by snipping sprigs any time of the year, which is one of its very best qualities, since it keeps right on giving while your annual herbs are resting through winter. For tea, use 1 small, fresh sprig or about half a teaspoon of the needles per cup, steep covered for around 5 minutes, and strain it. It brews into a savory herbal cup, so a touch of honey or a thin slice of lemon rounds it off nicely. It is the perfect morning brew for when you want to feel wide awake and quietly settled at the very same time. So there you have your 9. Lemon balm, chamomile, holy basil, culinary lavender, spearmint, passion flower, lemongrass, saffron, crocus, and rosemary. You do not need all of them at once, and you certainly do not need to spend a fortune to begin. Start with just 2 or 3 that call to you. Put them by the sunniest window or the corner of your patio that catches the most light, and let the little daily habit of tending them become its own quiet comfort. The garden gives you the ritual, and the ritual gives you back the pause your day has been missing. If you enjoyed this and you want more simple, budget-friendly ways to grow food and a little calm right on your own patio, there is plenty more like this waiting for you on the channel. Now go put the kettle on.